And McMorrin.
Thank you, Mr Deputy Speaker. It's over 2 decades since the UK passed the Government of Wales Act, which officially created the National Assembly of Wales in Cardiff. And it is this institution that we have been calling to protect in the past few months as this government resists calls to respect the devolution settlement. And time is running out. The Welsh Assembly is due to meet tomorrow to rush through their emergency bill and try to bypass UK government plans to undermine devolution and return powers to Westminster, not Cardiff, after Brexit. Months of talks have failed, and quite rightly, Assembly members are attempting to block this power grab by refusing to give consent and pass their own legislation. Agreement must be enshrined in legislation. Consent must be enshrined in legislation. Whether this is through a Council of Ministers or any other mechanism, there must be movement on this, or the UK government risks plunging this country into a constitutional crisis of their own making. Today, however, I want to focus on a problem that, despite being widespread in British society, is rarely raised on the floor of this House. And I want to speak about the subtle, almost socially acceptable anti-Welsh sentiment, which I think that Brexit has helped highlight. The England rugby union coach, Eddie Jones, has apologised for publicly calling Wales a little shit place. But as Rhiannon Lucy Cosler of The Guardian pointed out last week, it is no surprise he felt like such feelings would be socially acceptable. It is almost fashionable for liberal elites in London to make casual racist remarks about the Welsh culture, Welsh accents and the Welsh language. It is one of the last acceptable forms, it seems, of xenophobia and bigotry, and a remnant of English colonialism. Roger Lewis of the Daily Mail once said of Wales and the Welsh, "I abhor the appalling and moribund monkey language myself." Anne Robinson, a few years ago, if you'll remember, Mr Deputy Speaker, describing all Welsh as irritating on a BBC Two commonly viewed programme. What are they for, she asked. They're always so pleased with themselves. And I think that those making xenophobic anti-Welsh comments are so pleased about themselves, they're unaware that their own comments amount to bigotry. And I've seen that that's only got worse since the referendum. The examples of vile anti-Welsh abuse on the mainstream media are numerous. But I don't want to burden this House further with any more crude language. Instead, I want to point out there's a link between the free expression of such bigotry and the sense of false English superiority that is leading this government to pursue its hard Tory Brexit. As this government has completely and utterly abandoned all efforts to rebalance the economy of the regions of this country and the nations of this country, they're also taking decisions that will have such a disproportionately negative effect on Wales. But, you know, I'm not going to merely attack this UK government and complain about anti-Welsh bigotry. I want to offer solutions. And to change a culture, we need to also make sure that our media is representative. Currently, broadcasting media is London-centric, with the vast majority of the most influential journalists and broadcasters broadcasting from England, and they are English. Channel 4, though, recently announced its commitment to investing in the nations and regions of the UK. And I welcome this commitment, and I hope it's followed by action that supports the establishment of a Channel 4 hub in Cardiff, and one that truly reflects Wales and our communities. Cardiff is home to an established creative industry employing 15,000 people worth around 1.6 billion GBA, We also have a pool of excellent candidates, 3 brilliant universities teaching over 7,000 students, producing high-caliber graduates in the creative industries, including film, radio, TV, animation, post-production, and up to 40% of our population is educated to at least degree level. In the UK, Cardiff is the only city ranked higher for its ability to attract and retain this talent outside of London. So with a population that is set to grow by 26% over the next 15 years, and with the city region already reaching 1.5 million, Cardiff's growth is one of its greatest assets. The logistics of this move will also be easily facilitated by many things. When the electrification from London to Cardiff is completed by the end, hopefully, of 2018, it will take 90 minutes to make the trip from the Welsh capital to London. And by 22-24, we hope Cardiff's Metro will also be completed, making transportation in the city even easier. And our broadband is superb, with competitive rates for super-fast broadband. And Cardiff has what it takes to deliver an investment project and has the track record to deliver it and prove it. Cardiff's strengths as a centre, already as a centre for broadcasting and a cultural centre, are unrivalled outside London. But such a move would also be culturally significant. It would ensure that more Welsh speakers and employees from a Welsh background are employed in a highly competitive, influential sector that is currently notoriously Anglo-centric. It would therefore ensure the views of different nations of the UK are represented in a fair and balanced way, ensuring bigotry, whether anti-Welsh or otherwise, is identified and challenged. So I urge the rest of this House to be vigilant of bigotry in all its forms, and especially when mainstream media depicts it as socially acceptable. Last summer, leading low-flies airline Flybe cancelled its route between Cardiff Airport and London City Airport, citing air passenger duty as the reason. And despite the self-proclaimed local champion, the Secretary of State for Wales has repeatedly voted to raise APD and is still opposed to devolving it to Wales, in complete contrast to the Conservative leader in Wales who supports it. If the government wants to show to Welsh people that investing in Wales is not a second thought, but is a priority, I urge them to support Cardiff's bid for a Channel 4 relocation and devolve air passenger duty as a devolved power to allow Wales to reach its full potential. And as I told the Welsh Secretary during a Welsh Affairs Committee session before Christmas, his commitment to Wales is in doubt because he has consistently shied away from investing in Wales, from the tidal lagoon to renewables, devolving air passenger duty to rail electrification. And as a Swansea Valley boy, surely he must be so embarrassed to go home. As Rhodri Morgan, Labour's father of Welsh devolution, said, the Tories' relationship with Wales is based on trust and understanding. We don't trust them, and they don't trust us. I don't trust this Tory government, and the Secretary of State will take up the suggestions today. But I hope it will help them understand why the Welsh people and our communities reject their party with their feet.
Stephen Kinnock.
Thank you, Mr Deputy Speaker, and I'd like to thank my honourable friend for Ynys Môn, who's not in his place at the moment, and it's always a pleasure to follow my honourable friend for Cardiff North.